Hello, I'm TypoHouseGames.
And I'm Jester.
And we have number 8.
Number 8 in the Mind of Madness.
Yep, and this is what, Victini
This is
VMAX?
Victini.
Okay. I definitely see some cards I'm not familiar with.
Yeah,
Yep.
So most people that play Victini, one, accept that they auto-lose to Decidueye, which I think is stupid in a fire deck to accept that you auto-lose to a grass deck, and
Yep.
I will never allow that to happen. Because, again, you can't shut off Decidueye's ability unless you have Galarian Weezing in the active, but that doesn't do Victini any good.
You could play Phoebes.
Why waste a supporter for a turn?
Hey, listen, if it wins the game.
When I could run the Chandelure.
Yeah.
One, I run it for its main ability, which is all of your Pokemon that have energy attached have no weakness, because things like Suicune and Ice Rider are running around.
Yeah,
and
I feel
Inteleon-
like we haven't been seeing a lot of Ice Rider recently, though.
I don't see why not,
Yeah.
other than the cards being expensive.
Yeah.
Expensive. In
Yeah.
Pokemon terms, they're expensive.
Yeah. I guess, like, we really only play locally,
Yeah.
and I've been playing a lot of Expanded, and I feel like
Yeah.
Expanded Ice Rider
It's
isn't.
not, yeah. In Expanded, you want to try and guarantee them one-shots, and Ice Rider don't do it.
Yeah. I guess the only other reason I could see Ice Rider not being played is, like, Paw Patrol running around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like, well, no, Cape of Toughness makes Ice
Yep,
Rider
you
very
live.
difficult.
Yeah.
Before Cape of Toughness, Ice Rider is
Granted,
just like, haha.
Granted, most Ice Riders run the Inteleon line, so I still don't like. They can still one shot because
Oh,
they're
that's
gonna
fair.
quick shooting.
Yeah.
Typing
But
is
that
definitely what
takes
hurts them.
2 to 3 turns for that.
Yeah.
And, if they get a VMAX out and I just one-shot it with my Zacian,
Yeah, it's a
they've
bad day.
lost the trade. Yeah.
So I run it for that because
Yeah.
water is very strong, and it's
Yeah.
only going to get stronger with the Crabominable, the Kingler that'll eventually come out.
Oh, that Kingler's silly.
It's Frostmoth and Inteleon already being a thing. Like that, water is so good right now.
Yeah.
So you've got to do something. And again, people are building Victini, and they're just like, I'm just going to accept that I lose those matchups, and I refuse to be one of those people.
Yeah.
You can cover every matchup.
It's rough.
You may
though.
not win
Yeah.
every matchup, but you can make it where you don't auto lose
Yeah.
just by sitting down.
Yeah. Shout out to my old Duraludon. I love that little boy.
Right? I refuse to be beaten.
Yeah.
So yeah, no weakness. So I get to play the game against them, and also it does 110, and it leaves your opponent's active Pokemon confused. So sometimes if I need to stall and just rely on a coin
Yeah.
flip because I'm all about it, I can stall them out for a turn. It's a stage 2, so take some time to get there. That's why we have the rare candies, but also the Lampent's kind of nice. If I draw it to start my turn, I can just put it on my bench, and I can skip the Litwick.
Yeah.
It, believe it or not, it happened the very first game that I played it on my opening turn.
Nice.
Obviously, 4/4 Victinis, that's what I want, and then the 2 Crobats for draw power, because there's not a lot in this deck. Like, there's no Suicune or Drizzle or anything like that to just give me cards that I want, so I
Yeah.
just want cards. 4 Quick Ball, so I can go get the Victinis. Occasionally the Litwick. I feel so bad when I have to Quick Ball for a Litwick, though.
Yeah.
2 Energy Search, because I run 8, and I need energies every turn. 4 Evo Incense, so I can go get the Lampents, Chandelures, and Victini VMAXs. 2 Switch. Every once in a while, people like to boss to prevent me from swinging for a turn if I end up ahead, which should never happen if I'm playing Victini. If I'm ahead, you're already losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turbo Patch, because the chance at getting a second Victini set up in one turn is
Always very nice, yeah.
Especially because Victini V is frail, as all get out.
Yeah.
4 copies of Boss, because that's what you do with Victini.
Yeah.
Boss V, kill, Boss V, kill, Boss V, kill, win game. 3 Marnie, 4 Professors, and then I run 2 of the Heat Energies to give it that extra 20 HP, so that because Victini VMAX is like the second most frail VMAX there is.
What's the first?
Crobat VMAX is
Oh.
300.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, trying to get up to that 330, 350 is nice.
Yeah.
I thought about putting Big Charm in it, to be honest. Just to try and give Victini even more HP.
So, I know you're talking about the weakness and not auto losing against Decidueye, but I feel like there's just got to be a better option than the Lampent, like, or the Chandelure. I guess getting rid of weakness is really nice.
I run the Chandelure
Yeah.
because it gets rid of the weakness for Victini.
Yeah.
And fire Pokemon are very expensive attack costs. Like
Yeah.
all of them. If
Yeah.
it has an attack that one shots Decidueye, odds are it's probably 3 energy to attack. Chandelures is at least 2.
That's fair. I know for a while you were talking about like playing Melody in this.
Yeah, a lot of people are playing
Yeah.
Victini Melanie, and they
Yeah.
they quick ball all their water energy so they can attach a fire and Melanie the water and swing in one turn. I
Yeah.
don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
I think
was,
it's an interesting idea.
if I was doing that, I would definitely run Energy Search.
Yeah,
100%. But also, Lampent's attack isn't terrible if I need to hide behind one and set up, because it's 1 fire and 20 damage, and I attach a fire energy from my discard to one of my Pokemon.
Yeah,
so.
and if you draw it,
Yeah.
it
just goes
not
down.
bad. Yeah.
Again, I have given myself as many possible ways to turn 2 have a Chandelure up.
Yeah.
Obviously, stage 2, I can't be perfectly consistent, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I've tried to cover everything. That being said, I think Victini still loses to water decks.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But I've tried to mitigate that as much as possible. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But
So
I've at least tried.
So you brought up losing decks, water. Are there any other decks that you feel like this deck hard loses to?
Dragapult because of energy denial. Especially the ones that run Rugged Helmet. Man.
Yeah.
It's hard. Any deck that revolves around energy denial really hurts Victini VMAX
Yeah,
at this point because Welder's gone. So
Yeah. So winning decks, Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
I know you're gonna get Paw Patrol.
Paw
alive.
Patrol.
Yeah.
So nice. 2. Boom. What is it? 440.
Yeah. Yeah. But thankfully, there's not a lot of fire decks running around.
Yep.
So we don't really have
Victini's
to worry about Coding Energy. I thought Coding Energy was going to be so much better than it was. But
No.
even when Scorch was running around and like a massive pain in my rear,
Yeah.
like Coding Energy just wasn't worth it.
Victini is the only fire deck
Yeah.
in the current format that can still be played, but that's going to change.
Yeah.
We can talk about that after all the deck profiles. But that is changing because I have another deck that is coming up
Yeah.
once Fusion Strike comes out.
All right. So do you think there? Well,
also-
you referenced it a little bit, but is there anything that's coming out that you think Victini is going to be able to use and like push it back up to a more competitive level?
Oh God. Is Welder coming back?
Not that I know of, but they might surprise us.
It's rough.
Yeah. Well, it's been reprinted so many times, so it won't surprise me if we don't see it for like a full rotation.
I'll be honest. I hope Victini VMAX rotates out before Welder comes back.
I could see that. Yeah.
Because I thought we can go on a tangent because it's still fire type Pokemon, but I thought Welder was a perfectly fine supporter when fire Pokemon's attacks were all expensive. I feel like that's how fire Pokemon have always been.
Yeah.
High attack cost, but it does more damage. It hits harder. It'll usually burn. Fire played like Single Strike Urshifu does now. It was a big cost, but when you got it, you were swinging.
Yeah.
You were taking knockouts every time you got to swing.
Shout out to Charizard.
And I thought that was fair. The deck played a little slower because if it didn't get Welder, it couldn't ramp as fast to win. But if it did, it played fair.
Yeah.
And then when Victini came out and you could just Giant Hearth Welder for Giant Hearth, get your fire energies, and just Welder of Victini to swing for 220 every time against a V, it was obnoxious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought it made fire decks too fast. I get that it's only 220. Only 220. Well, again, you beat Zacian and you kill Zacian.
Just outright
Gone.
Yeah. Even without the boost.
Yeah, without the
Yeah.
boost, you kill Crobat, and people still play too many of those.
Yeah.
Die on that hill. Stop playing Crobat. If you don't absolutely need it, don't play it. It's not worth it.
I can't even argue with you because I've been cutting Crobat out of so many of my decks recently. So
Like I
Yeah.
run 2 in mine, but I usually only ever play 1. If I play 2, it's because I started off in a really bad spot.
yeah. All right. So is there anything else you'd like to say about the deck?
God, originally my concept for building this deck was actually because of Austin complaining about how fire was going to be completely worthless type because Welder rotating out and Giant Hearth rotating out. He's like, fire just has nothing anymore. It's just going to suffer. We need Welder back for fire decks to work. And I'm like, you don't.
It just makes them better. But
I
there are not a lot
Yeah.
of fire decks running
this
around right
and
now.
Leon are the only 2.
Yeah.
And Leon is so slow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it
this one at
is.
least gets to you can play once you get this one done, because usually it's your hope is to live 2 swings on a VMAX so that you can start setting the next one up by the time that one gets knocked out. You play the second VMAX. I thought about EXP share. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like trying to mitigate the weakness is more important than making sure the energy transfers.
Yeah. But I feel like this is a good stopping point for the
Yeah.
video. So I've been Typo T-Rex,
And I'm Jester.
and you've been watching us live on twitch.tv/TypoHouseGames. But if you're on YouTube, that's the end of the video. If you're still live with us, don't go anywhere.
Got one more for you.
Yeah, one more in the Mind of Madness. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next video.